You already know what we think of the new Royal Enfield Interceptor 650, and you probably also know that it's won our Bike of the Year award. However, it's one thing to really like a motorcycle and a completely different thing to go out and spend your hard-earned money on one, especially when we're talking about roughly 3 lakh rupees. So is the Interceptor really worth the hype? Now, we've ridden the Interceptor in California, in Goa and in Mumbai, but living with one has perhaps made the best impact of what Royal Enfield has created. You see, it's natural to be impressed by a 47 HP 650cc twin-cylinder motorcycle priced that low, but there's more to the Interceptor than just numbers. To begin with, Royal Enfield has created a retro-style motorcycle that's focused on giving you a rich, enjoyable and fairly relaxed riding experience. In other words, it's got everything to keep you chasing high speeds, but its unstressed format just helps you ease off and take in the scenery, even on a commute. The new fuel-injected parallel twin motor makes a huge contribution to the Interceptor's appeal. It's smooth, quite linear, torquey and powerful where it really matters, and the 6-speed gearbox works without hiccups even when you're being very aggressive. For those of you concerned about how it works in the city, here's how it goes. Firstly, the Interceptor offers an unstressed riding position which is fairly upright without being boring thanks to the decently rear-set foot pegs. However, the stock seat is a bit too soft and may get uncomfortable in a couple of hours, especially if you are, like me, a bit on the heavier side. Thankfully, RE does offer an accessory touring seat which costs 4,000 rupees, and while it looks identical to the standard seat, its firmer padding helps over longer rides. However, the Interceptor is not very pillion friendly, firstly because of the relatively short seat length which leaves most sizes of pillions wedged between the seat and the grab rail, but also because of the positioning of the rear foot pegs which makes you sit with your legs folded in an acute angle. This can get uncomfortable beyond reason over anything longer than a 2-hour ride, and while the upswept exhausts are to blame for it to a certain extent, let's hope Royal Enfield addresses this at least on later models. With that out of the way though, there's almost nothing you'll dislike about the Interceptor. It's refined and also absolutely at home being ridden at low revs, and its energy at higher revs is just as impressive, especially coming from a bike that looks so effortlessly old school. Thankfully, the Interceptor isn't just a fast bike but also has the brakes to match, and they work very effectively in the city as well, with the dual-channel ABS also proving quite helpful. The Pirelli Phantom Sportcom tyres certainly won't leave you wanting for a wider contact patch, although on some of Mumbai's concrete roads, it's not too hard to spin up the rear wheel, which is fun, but it can be a little inconvenient on what is a nearly 210 kg motorcycle. What's also good for standard equipment is the headlight, although an extra set of auxiliary lights never really hurt, and also the horn, which you must use only very judiciously. However, you can't buy an Interceptor and not head out on the highway with it, and it's here that it really shines. It cruises effortlessly at 100 kph and doesn't feel uncomfortable even at speeds higher than that. Alright, so the soft rear suspension in its neutral setting is a bit too soft and can compromise cornering at really high speeds, but for the most part it remains plush and stable with fairly enjoyable handling characteristics. What comes most naturally to the Interceptor though is clocking long highway distances. It's not just about its capability, but the state of mind it puts you in, and this is a motorcycle you'll want to take on a really long ride, even right after you've just arrived from a really long ride. It's fun, it looks great, and it's a beautiful two-wheel companion that will make you want to ride it everywhere and all the time, and at that delicious price starting at 2.5 lakh rupees for the basic Interceptor is just impossible to resist. At present, you will have to wait a couple of months or more depending on where in India you live to have your Interceptor delivered, although we can safely say it's absolutely worth the wait.